So let me quickly show you the waiver because I pulled it up this morning because I have had enough coffee to be alert. All right. So we'll have fun sort of working at your own pace. We're going to warm up slowly. If you have a roller and you want to stick around at the end of our actual workout, we'll roll things out a little bit with our stretching. We'll sort of breathe it into the stretching if you have time for that. And then in the middle, we'll sort of work in a concentrated fashion. So hopefully we'll have fun. All right, so let's start standing. Gotta get my music on. So I have my chair facing me, the seat facing me, and I have the back propped up a little bit against my couch here, just so I can warm up a bit. We're gonna take a little time and care to warm up our shoulders, our spine, our legs, get the heart rate up just a little bit so that you're really ready once we jump into it. All right. Sorry, one last thing here. You know, I feel so organized until I'm not. Okay. So with your chair nearby, facing you perhaps, just find those feet, rock back and forth, see how everything feels today. And then imagine lifting your arches and lifting your inner thighs almost up and behind you, bringing your tail long and hugging that belly in. So before we even move, we're sort of connected from the ribs down. Beautiful. Let's take our hands to heart center. I'm going to borrow this from yoga. So we'll inhale, we'll take the left arm out and around and then pull down through the pinky finger to reconnect. Other side, inhale, out, around, hold down. Now both, inhale, maybe gaze up, out, around, hold down. This time we'll add a little extension. So we'll breathe up, our thumbs will meet, and then we'll pull the elbows wide and we'll lift the heart and stretch the chest and really bring those elbows down as far as you can so the shoulders find the spine and gently release. Beautiful job. All right, we're gonna open up the arms like we have wings. So we're gonna press through the heels of the hands growing from the back. Push out through that right arm and circle the left. And really feel the shoulders. Try not to let the legs or abs get lazy. We wanna sort of wake things up here. Beautiful, one more breath. And then reverse that direction. So, you know, later on we'll be adding weights to the arms. And the shoulders can be sort of vulnerable. So we want to make sure they're warm without the weights. Now we're going to flip that palm out, up, and we're going to reach out. And you can kick your hip away as well. Yes, isn't this lovely? One more time, and then side bend. Unravel, come back to those arms. Press out through the left arm and circle back through the right. Find your shoulders. Make sure those arches are still lifted, inner thighs are still connected, and belly still buttoned up and in. Relax glutes. I'll give you one thing to relax. And then take it the other way. Really try to move from the back. And if you do this well, if you really stir the scapula around, it does end up feeling like work. Okay, palm up, shift out and come back. Shift out and come back. Shift out, side bend. Oh, one more breath. This time we're going to turn our fingers down and make big shoulder circles forward. And see how your neck feels. Maybe you want to move the cervical spine a little bit too. My neck is kind of cranky today. And gently release. Beautiful. Now sit back carefully. Keep those knees in alignment with the toes. Hands to the thighs. Tuck that tail under and reach it long. This can be just about the bottom of the spine, or you could make it bigger. You could really round from cat to cow. Gorgeous, just one more time. Beautiful. And if you're not facing your chair, bring your hands to that chair. Step out nice and wide and take your hips up and back. So for me, I have to start with a little bit of bent knees. Really shift your weight away from your hands, but press them down and apart. So now we're sort of stretching the shoulders that we just worked. Lovely. One more breath here. Keep your ears between your biceps so the head's nice and long. And then we'll sort of slowly unravel to a wide-legged plank. From here, we're going to just lift and lower those heels. Keep your belly lifted and maybe start your breath if you haven't yet. I don't know what I'm holding my breath for, but time to breathe, Amy. Just roll through the ankles. If this is too wide for you, you can always narrow up a little more. It doesn't have to be one size fits all in here. A couple more breaths for 3 and 2. Last one, beautiful. Now this time we'll walk the feet back till they're right under the hips. We're gonna keep that left arm on the chair and open the right arm up to the right. Yeah, turn your palm forward. Come back through center. Other side. One big breath. Gorgeous. And gently release. From here, we're gonna come down to the knees. Inhale, breathe your arms up overhead as you stretch out of that waist. Little side bend, so reach for the ceiling. Remember, you don't need your fingers for this. This is really about your rib cage. One more time to each side. And then we'll step that right foot forward, come into a little lunge. You might want it to be static, or you might sort of want to pulse in and out of it with this sweeping motion forward. Thanks for showing up, guys. I already feel better. One more breath here. Now keep the bend, make sure you're in good alignment, knee over front ankle. Tuck your back toes and lift that back knee. Light hands on the chair, so I almost have like little tented fingers. Gorgeous here. I'm gonna encourage my inner thighs to sort of magnetize, squaring up the hips. One more breath here. And then I'm gonna walk that back knee in enough so that I can drop it and we can pulse. Yes, nice. We just wanna wake up those legs. So squeeze the gluteal muscles in the front leg, invigorate the quadriceps of the back leg. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hands come to your chair. Step that foot back. Bring those knees down. Inhale, breathe your way up. Left foot's gonna step forward. And see, you might have come out of a good stance. So take your time to come back into it. And again, you can stay here in this lunge, or you can kind of sweep front to back a little bit with this sort of releasing motion. One more breath. And then stay into the lunge for 1 second. Make sure that knee is falling down into the ankle. Tuck back toes and lift. Good, light hands here. And we're gonna really square it up. So inner thighs are sort of reaching back behind you. Stay for 3, 2, 1, and then we're gonna walk that back foot in, drop the knee, lift the heart, and pulse. Really feel your way into that front foot, squeezing the left glutes and waking up the right quadriceps. We're almost there for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hands together. Feet come back. Lift those hips one more time. Little bend and extend, maybe sway side to side or side lunge. Yes. All right, we're ready to get into the work today. So we are going to be working in 40-second intervals. But that doesn't necessarily mean you have to work fast. So approach each exercise with sort of exploration and decide, what do I need to be with this today? All right, so if you've got a roller or a mat or a towel, you're gonna place it down the center of your mat. Like this one would work as well. But we're hoping to have something that's long enough that the head all the way to the tail can stay on that roller, okay? I'm just gonna slide back a tiny bit so I don't kick anything. And then we're gonna come down onto this roller. Oops, I forgot my important thing. So lay on down, and we're gonna do a little block of abdominal work. All right, so I have from my tail to my crown on the roller. I'm gonna tuck that tail under, hugging the belly into the spine. And of course, this works just down on your mat too. I'm gonna bring those legs up to tabletop, and then I'm gonna take turns dropping one foot toward the mat at a time. That's it. Hug the belly in. Really broaden the back of your pelvis. Do you have to touch the mat? Of course not. And again, this works flat on your back. It'll work on a towel. Might work on a rolled up mat. If you have a foam roller, what's nice about it is it really challenges your stability. One more to each side. And then rest. Gorgeous. So our next one, we're going to bring both legs up in the air, lower them together, and lift them together. So make sure you roll your low back toward that roller or mat. Bring the legs up in the air, drop them together, lift them together. Now the first few, you're going to go nice and slowly because we don't want to arch that low back. So as soon as we feel like we might arch, we're going to draw the legs back up. Could your knees stay bent for this? Yes. You really feel like the front of the hips are taking over, just bend those knees a little. What I like about this is we really work the abdominals and the head is down. So that's great. You've got maybe time for 3 more. Inhale away, exhale up. Last one, then the knees rest. So because this is a little bit of a block, it's a challenge. We've got 2 more here. Take breaks as you need. This time, if you can, the head and shoulders are going to come up as well. So we're going to tuck that tail under. Roll the ribs toward the hips. Bring the legs up to tabletop. Curl your head up if you can. Single leg stretch. So I'm just perched on my fingertips here. And again, of course, you can experience single leg stretch down on the mat. So the roller is not a must-have. Just a way to kick things up a notch, add some variety, add some fun. I don't know if this is your idea, but it might be just my idea. If your head is up, look down the body. If your neck gets tired, put the head down and keep working and really think about that imprint. Try to stop the knees as they come in right above the hip. Last one to each side. Relax down. Boy, am I feeling activation. Okay, now we're gonna go for some rope climbs. This time the legs are gonna stay down. You might wanna widen your stance a little. And the arms are gonna get ready to come up and we're gonna act like we're curling up, grabbing the ropes across the body. So ribs roll down. And we're sort of rocking shoulder to shoulder. Not really changing the torso too much, except for this reach across. So I want you to think about your obliques. If it gets to be too much, you could bring the hands behind the head and try to sort of reach the shoulder toward the opposite hip. Yes. Nice, long necks, supported belly, and we get this sort of wringing out of the waist. After this, we're gonna come down off of this and change things up a little. Gorgeous. So gracefully roll off the roller. If you've got a roller, bring it down towards your feet. We're gonna get ready to get into some glutes. Okay. So you've got an option here, roller or no roller, and you've got an option to be static or move. So we're gonna roll up to bridge, and then you can stay right here or you can push the roller away and draw the roller back in. All right, so breathe. As you start, at least squeeze those glutes up and together. Now, when you roll out and away, you want to be careful you don't go so far that your low back arches. So you want to try to keep those hips sort of level. Support with the glutes. And the hamstrings, boy, they are going to fire. Breathe. Inhale out, exhale in. Again, if you're on the mat, you could just be here squeezing and holding, which is no joke. Last breath. Gorgeous. If you have a roller, we're going to put it under your shoulder blades. This will definitely work with the mat as well and the towel as well. So we're going to reverse the glute bridges. Before, the legs were moving. Now we're going to lift the hips. So feet right under your knees. Let's bring hands behind the head. We're going to press up to glute bridge and lower down. Exhale, press up. Inhale down. As you press up, you want to squeeze the glutes together as well. Lift your kneecaps so the quadriceps engage a bit. And you could keep this smaller or really move through that range of motion coming all the way down. I feel like I froze. There we go. Imagine if you just had to look at me like this for the next hour. Little pulses. Gorgeous. Quick transition here to standing. Now we're going to come toward our seat, staying in the legs. In fact, you may want to sit all the way down in the seat. If you need a break, take it. Otherwise, we're going to stand up and just hover. We're going to put almost all the weight in the left leg and come to the right toes. And you can stay still or you can have tiny pulses. So it looks like this from head on. I've got my right heel lifted, but I'm going to try to stay low. Almost like I'm trying to tap back to that seat. My belly is really helping me here so that low back doesn't arch. And let's be honest, the left leg is doing all the work. So squeeze those sitting bones toward one another. Invite the quadricep to get a little help from the gluteal muscles. Just 5 seconds here. 4, 3, 2, 1. You may want to release. Anyone feel that as much as I did? All right, we're going to go to the other side. So I like starting from sitting because then you're tempted to sort of just barely hover. So we're going to push into the feet equally, then shift the weight to that right leg. Left heel comes up. And it's a hold or a tiny pulse. If you're pulsing, make sure you're reaching your hips back so that you're not really pulsing into the knees. You're trying to sit deeper, deeper, deeper. Remember, sitting bones come toward one another like they're magnetized. Now would be a good time for me to tell a really funny joke, but I don't really have a good one. I should have studied up on my springtime humor. Keep that belly lifted. Standing leg doing most of the work. Remember, this can be still. Still is not easier. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2. Release. Okay. Grab your weights. I'm going to let you sit again. Give those legs a little break. Come toward the front of your mat. Lift your belly up and long and then hinge forward slightly. So there's no rounding. Hinge forward. Pull those weights down by your knees and then bicep curl to your shoulders. Good. So when you bicep curl, you always want to sort of establish the shoulders down in their pockets so your arms don't get too narrow on you. Now here we're adding gravity to the equation because we're kind of pitched forward. So think about the lowering. Really control that lowering and keep lifting your belly away from your thighs. Really squeeze. 5 seconds more. 3, 2, 1. Place your weights out of your way. Okay. We're going to use the chair for some tricep dips. We want to make sure we're bending through the elbows and not lifting the hips up and down. This can be intense, so go slowly at your own pace. Fingers forward or slightly out. We're going to shift the weight away from that chair into the feet. But now from here, I'm not going to lower and thrust. I'm going to bend and press. My shoulders are back and down. My gaze is forward. So once you see what we're up to, make sure you look straight ahead. So inhale down, exhale up. As you drop, try to reach those elbows toward one another. If this is too much for your shoulders, you could come to the mat and try long-legged halfway leans instead. But same thing. It's the arm bending that helps us fire the triceps. 4 more seconds. Hang in there. 2. Release. Beautiful job. Okay. So if you have a roller, we're going to try to come into side elbow plank. If you do not have a roller, you're going to try to come into side elbow plank without the roller. So either way, your top leg is crossed over your bottom leg, and you're going to push up here. Yes. Okay, so this is beautiful. This may be enough for you. Okay. If you want more, we're going to try to thread the arm through. Remember, you may or may not be on a roller. So if you want more, we're going to lift that arm, hike up the hips a little and turn, and then come back without dipping. Hike up the hips and turn, come back without dipping. What would this look like without a roller? Hike and turn, lift. Gorgeous. And release. We're going to swivel that around to the other side. So think, if you have some tension or difficulty in your shoulders, This is probably better for you without the roller because the rolling always adds instability. Stack everything up, top leg over bottom leg, elbow under shoulder. Exhale, lift up. So a lot of work from the underside body. Resist the floor with this elbow like you're trying to press or bore down or make a hole in your mat. Now, if you want the extra work, you lift, you thread through, you come back. You lift, you thread through, you come back. So my shoulder's a little tricky on this side, so I'm going to just use the mat. So I'm going to cross and lift. I'm going to hike my hips as I thread the arm through, come back. This is a tough one, guys. Good. This is what I call the circus trick portion. Come on up. We're going to get the heart rate up a little bit. Make sure you don't have anything in your way. Use the seat of the chair for some mountain climbers. I'm going to make sure it's sturdy. Hands to my chair. I'm going to step back to plank. And I'm going to pull one knee in at a time. Without turning my hips, without hiking my hips. I'm going to really trust my shoulder line, my palms under my shoulders. And maybe I want to go faster. Who knows? But I'm going to pull the knee in from the belly. I'm going to stay light in my feet. So the work is in my hands and my abs. Yes, climbing that mountain. After this, we have one more exercise, and then we're going to take a break. You can do this. Hang in there. Breathe. Release. If you have your roller or mat or towel, place it perpendicular to your mat on the floor. So another little cardio burst, and then we're halfway through, so we're going to break. We're going to do little hop overs. So start on one side. You can step tap, or you can hop, 2 feet at a time. So do what's right for you. Now, a roller's not going to kill you, but tripping over one might not be good. So you got to really lift those knees. And if you don't feel too confident today, or the vibration in the bones isn't good for you, just step and tap. Yes. It's your workout. You get to decide how hard you push here. Honoring yourself, right? 3, 2, relax. Take a break. Water. Towel off if you need to. We're halfway. I'm impressed. Little water for me. So the blocks we ran through were 4 exercises for abdominals, 4 for legs, 4 for arms, 4 for sort of cardiovascular health and multitasking. Same concept, but this time we'll do different exercises. So have your roller nearby. Option to use the roller under the feet for this next one. We're going to come into elbow plank. So you can decide if you want the roller in use or if you want your feet on the floor. I'll show you both versions. So elbows come under shoulders. That's the first part. We're going to stack the shoulders over the elbows. You can have little prayer hands or fists. Lift to your plank. And then if you can, if your shoulders are healthy enough, you're going to saw front to back. Now you'll soon find out the sawing is not so much about the arms, but about the abs. And if you can see, my hips aren't lifting or moving up and down at all. My whole shape is sliding front to back. I'll show you what this looks like without a roller. Just going to stack those feet. And then you're just rocking forward and back through the ankles. Yeah, so use every exhale to really pull those abs up. One more second. You're done. Beautiful. So if you have anything now, roller, pillow, towel, mat, it's going to come under your hips. So hips are elevated. Shoulders are down. Make sure the roller is under the flat part of your spine, your sacrum. Hug your belly and lift those legs to the ceiling. hands on the roller or the mat. We're going to double pulse for scissors. Now, I find scissors actually a lot more enjoyable with my hips elevated. It's more about the stretch than it is about the stomach work, and your head is down as well. So think about these long legs. Here's a good place to practice meeting that diagonal. See, your legs come here. Instead of just dropping and lifting, they pass away from you. Last 3, enjoy this one. 2, last one. Beautiful. Hug those knees in, but keep your hips up if you can. So we're going to try a little corkscrew. So bring the feet sort of above the forehead. We're going to drop the legs to the right, drawing a little U, and exhaling to sweep up to the left, pausing at the top. Then we'll go down to the left, sweep up and over right. Actually, what you're really drawing is sort of an egg. Pay attention to low back, right? We don't want to do this. We don't want to arch and lose the ribs. Now, if you wanted to take this up a notch, you could roll over with it as well. Making sure, though, that you're rolling down, alternating which side of the body you initiate with. Good. So whichever version you prefer, you probably got one more here. Lift your hips and release. All right. Again, don't need the roller for this, but it's nice. Plank to knee hover. So either your toes are tucked or your ankles, the crease of ankle to foot is on the roller. Hands come under shoulders. Do I have enough space? Who knows? Lift your belly up. Hug those knees up. Stretch out to plank. Pull into hover. Stretch out to plank. Pull into hover. Tether your hips like they're hanging from the ceiling on strings and they can't move. You keep moving. I'll show you what it's like without a roller. Plank to knee bend. Barely, not even really tapping. So when you pull those knees in, you really fight to keep the hips level. And that's where the hard abdominal work is. 3, 2, 1. Release. Let's come up to standing. We're going to bring that back of the chair to face you. So we're going to releve. You can try standing on a roller or the floor. The roller's a little dicey, so be careful. You're going to split those feet and then lift up and down. You know what I'm going to say? Honestly, guys, since it's not a bar, just releve. Don't use your roller. You could do it on a yoga block if you wished, or we're just lifting and lowering in parallel. At the studio, we have the sturdiness of the bar to count on, so the instability of the roller is cool. Keep moving if you haven't. You've stopped. Here, let's just keep it simple. Kiss it, right? Is that what they say? Keep it simple. Sweetie, I'm going to say, instead of the other thing. Lift your pelvic floor. Your quads will feel this either way. Gorgeous. So we're going to come into squats. We will keep the roller nearby, but we're not going to use it for this either, I don't think. So facing your chair, we're going to go down for 2 and up for 2, nice and parallel. We're going to sit back, 2, drive up, 2. Inhale back, exhale, stand. Good. And I want you to really pay attention that you just come up to your alignment. That you don't come and jut your hips forward. That's a no-no. We resist the floor. We drive up through the calves, the hamstrings, the quadriceps, the glutes, the pelvic floor. Back for 2, up for 2. Try to reach that imaginary chair behind yourself. Don't make this about your knees. Yes, keep it going. It's doable on a roller, but like I said, it's a little tricky. And the last thing we need is for anybody to fall into their chair for your pretty weekend. All right, rest. So for this next one, it's only going to be 1 foot on the roller. So if you're up for it, try, or put the yoga block under your foot. That's an option too. So let's put left foot on, either block or roller. Right foot up. We're going to come back to lunge and tap. Inhale, exhale. So we want to bend both knees. The leg that's coming to the floor, it's important that that bends. And if this doesn't feel stable to you, yoga block is great. But also, guess what? Would you just do it standing on the floor? Absolutely. Inhale, exhale, drive up. So think about the grounded foot, whether it's on the ground, on a block, or a roller. That's the foot that's driving you up. The other foot's doing pretty work. Keep it stable. 3, 2, 1, come up. Get your break, and then we'll stretch the other leg back. So a little shift. Boy, do I feel tall. This is kind of nice. Start in parallel. Make sure you don't step back to a balance beam. All right, here we go. Inhale. Step back, bend both knees. Drive up. Inhale. Exhale. You guys are doing great. We are 3/4 of the way through this workout, and that should leave us with plenty of time to stretch and roll. So hang there a little bit longer. Lift that pelvic floor. Rely on that front foot. Bend the back knee. Stability. Every time, inhale back, exhale up. Almost there. After this, we're going to have a quick transition to weights using the side of the chair. So we're in a row here. You can use one weight or two. We're going to come to the side of that chair. We're going to sit down and just rest the forearm on the chair. And then the inside leg's going to tap back. We're going to start with the arms. We're going to pull up and back to the ribs. One weight or two. If you want to add a lift of the leg, squeeze your glutes to lift. Put a lot of weight in that forward standing leg. If you're feeling it in your back, not worth it. So just stay here and pull back on that row. Every time you pull up, try to really retract the shoulder into the spine. We're almost there. 4, 3, 2, release. So we're going to switch sides. Boy, that standing leg felt that. Good. So I'm just going to show you what it would look like from the side. Normally I'd have my forearm down. I'm going to dangle the weight, pull it up past the hip to the rib cage, hugging it in. And if I want to have that lift, it's little. It's through the glutes, and I don't really put weight on that foot again. I really trust the front leg, or the leg that's away from the chair. This is what it would look like from the back. Protract that shoulder. If you have to move slower to really get the form, to really get the squeeze at the top, it's worth it. We're almost there. Release. Just one weight. You got this, guys. So we're going to write our initials. Some of you have done this with me before. I'm going to stand in a turned out position, or you can have slight knee bend to release that low back. Roll your shoulders down. Lift your weights up in front of your chest from your abs and your back. Write your initials in one direction, and then write your initials back in the other direction. Yes. Good. Now, you're going to want to move around a lot, right? My body wants to be like, hey, woo! It's not the 4th of July. You're not riding with a sparkler. You've got to use your abs to try to brace against the work of the arms. Good. Now, keep that spine long. No tension in the upper traps. Swan-like neck. Working from the back, the lats. Last one. And rest. Grab both weights for this. This is our last concentrated arm exercise. You have 5 exercises to go. You're doing really well. So for this one, we're going to combine a bicep curl and a tricep lift. So come to either a little chair or a little lunge, whatever works best for your spine. So we're going to Curl to the shoulder, lift straight back for the triceps. So pull, push, lift, lower. Pull, push, lift, lower. So what happens here is people tend to go like this. Whee! I don't know what that's doing for you. Roll your shoulders down, curl, release, lift, and lower. So we're working concentrically and eccentrically, 2 times each in this exercise. Momentum propels nothing here. I'm just gonna switch my leg for consistency's sake, but we're almost done. 3, 2, 1. All right, release those weights. Okay, 2 last tough standing ones. Back of chair will help you with this. Actually, I'll face you. Step out, turn out to your second position. Roll those fibers open, slide down. Little hops if you can. If hops don't feel right for you, you're gonna pulse. Yeah? You could also pulse, tap, lift. And you could do this with your jumps as well. Tap the chair, lift. Okay, we wanna maintain good form. Keep moving, long spine. All right. After this, we have 1 more to get the heart rate up, and then 2 on the mat, and then we're gonna roll and stretch. 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Holy moly. Get that chair out of your way. Last standing bit. With your mat, with your towel, with your roller, you're gonna put it in front of you. We're gonna tap. So, slow version, tap, like marches. Quicker version, you know, I'm gonna use my mat for this. You guys keep going. You do have to be a little careful. And of course, I'm super short. Slow, fast, medium, what's your tempo? Don't trip. Now, could you do this with nothing? Sure. Here. Okay. Choose what's right for you. You've got about 10 seconds left. Use your opposite arm to drive. 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh, release. All right. If you've got a roller, come back to it. Top of your mat as you lay down. We're gonna come with the roller under the hips. Bring the hands out. We're gonna bring the elbows down, lift the hips up, extend, bring the toes back. So it's swan dive. It should feel like you keep a rocking horse shaped back the whole time. So I'm hugging my elbows in, reaching my heart down, lifting my toes. Then I'm pressing up. The change is just the torso. Hug your belly in, invigorate your thighs. Stretch across your collarbones. It'll work for the arms too, if I'm totally honest. One last time. Rest back. Oh, we're almost there. Last exercise, plank. You can use the roller under your hands. If not, use the mat. If not, use the chair. Okay, so this would be hardest. Come into plank, and you're gonna crisscross your legs, little sachet. You're just putting one foot in front of the other. If you don't like this on your wrists, come to regular plank. If you like it, but you need a little more space to move, come to your chair. Don't let your hips lift and lower. Hug your belly up. You're almost there, guys. This is the final push. I'll join you on the roller if you're still hanging in there. It's tough, 10 seconds. You got it. 3, 2. Relax. Wow, that was fun. Bravo. Oh. All right. We're gonna stretch and roll. So, grab a sip of water if you like. So, even a sturdy rolled up mat will help you roll out your muscles. So I highly recommend that. Like you can take the mat you've been working on and roll it up possibly if you can be on a carpet or something. But we're also going to breathe some static stretches in the middle here too. But you know, if you don't have time to stay either, that's fine. Just make sure that if you don't stay with us, you do a little bit of stretching on your own. Okay. Woo. So let's start with legs on the roller. Sometimes this can feel a little bit like work too, because you do have to hold yourself up a little bit. We'll go through a couple of those ones that feel like work, and then we'll get into the ones that feel a little more relaxing. So cross your right leg over your left, putting the weight of your right leg on your left so that when you roll your calves, you have that sort of added help of pushing down. So I'm just using my hands to lift my hips and rolling my calves. Now remember, you have more than one calf muscle, so you might want to roll all the way up to all the way down. Feel like, notice where you need the work. And remember too that you can also turn your leg externally and medially to feel different stretches. So find where you need that work. Stay for one last breath and release. Release those wrists. Other side. So crossing my left ankle, just like on my right shin and rolling. And I think you have to, reorganize like this side. Oh, the top of my calf needs the work. Maybe you like feeling it way down above the ankle. Remember, you can roll side to side. Just remember, you don't want to ever roll right to the joints. You don't want to come right to the knee. All right, release. Okay. You can roll your hamstrings a little. I don't tend to get as much out of the hamstring roll personally. I think it's hard to apply enough weight, but feel free to roll those hamstrings just a little bit. Okay, then we're gonna come up. So here's a place where we can definitely hold a static stretch. So whether or not you're on a roller or a mat, you can do this stretch. So we're gonna cross the right heel over the left knee, and then we're going to turn to the right so that we're on the right glute, and we're gonna roll or hold. Good. See how your glutes feel? Yep. Couple more breaths here. My glutes actually feel pretty happy today. Shocker. So then we're gonna roll onto that right elbow. We're gonna cross the left foot over the top, stretch the right leg, and roll on the IT band, which is the outside of the thigh. And so that is from hip to knee, but again, not right on the hip, not right on the knee. This tends to be intense for a lot of people, so breathe your way into it. Support your body weight with your elbow and your opposite hand. One more breath. Gorgeous. Let's come up to the other side. So we're gonna sit, we're gonna cross left heel over right knee. We're gonna turn, so we're taking the legs and sort of pivoting toward the left gluteal muscles, and then we're rolling. Oh yeah, okay, so we found it on this side. Breathe, feel free to move. It should feel like sensation, sometimes intense sensation, but not pain. I want to feel pain. One more breath here. Good, now come onto the elbow. We're gonna take the right leg on top, stretch the left leg off the ground. I'm really pressing through my heel and roll the outside of the thigh. Iliotibial band, iliotibial. I said it backwards. Really good talk. So the next ones are gonna feel nice. Can't wait for you to experience them. One more breath. Gorgeous. And then come up. All right, get the roller behind you onto your low back. Bend your knees so your feet are firmly planted. Lift your hips and roll the QL a little bit. So you can support your head in your hands, or you can just look down the body. You can cross your arms over your chest. You can take your hands to your thighs. You want to get those big muscles that run down the lumbar spine. Just one more breath. Oh, I love this. Now walk forward enough so that you feel, oh, the roller stole my shirt. It's like bringing out the laundry. Roll to the tips of the shoulder blades. Here you might want to, and guys at home, you could arch over a block to achieve this if you can't roll. You may want to support your head in your hands here. Good. And then maybe even roll up to the tops of the shoulders. But be careful here, listen to your body. You can take your arms above your chest as well. And then place your hips down in front of the roller. Just bring the roller to the back of your neck. Grab the ends of the roller. So my whole spine is down except for my cervical spine. I'm going to turn my gaze to the right. Toward my armpit. Turn my gaze to the left. Toward my other armpit. And then rocking across the base of the skull. It's almost like a little acupressure, which is so nice. Remembering that we have these sheets that attach from the base of the skull up to above the eyebrows. So often if we have a headache here, it's originating back here. This is a classic stress headache spot. So roll it out here. Ah, lovely. Gorgeous. Now we're gonna roll ourselves up to sitting. We're gonna get the foam roller ahead of us, or if you're not using a foam roller, don't worry, there'll be some stretches for you here. So I'm gonna sit back into child's pose. So I'm gonna try to land my bottom to my heels, and then I'm gonna press that roller away from me or just use the floor. So stay here and feel really long first. Of course, puppy works as well. And then pull that roller in or pull your palms in and round as much as you can, like a seated cat. One more breath here. Gorgeous. And then come back. So the last thing we're really going to actively roll out here are the quadriceps. So remember, each thigh has 4 muscles, quad 4. So you may want to play with turning that femur bone, turning the thigh medially and externally. To do it, you're going to come forward. Start with the roller right above my knees, elbows to the mat. And I'm just going to start rolling from my knees up toward my hips without rolling right on my knees. And pretty quick, I tend to be able to find where I need to work, and it's almost always closer to my knees. But then I'm going to try like turning out. So I'm going to turn my thigh bones out and have little like penguin feet. So I get toward the inner thigh a little more. And then I'll try medially rotating, like coming almost knock-kneed, toes pointing in, and oh, this is where I really get some benefit. Remember, fascial release is really good for our overall fascial health. Some people believe it can decrease the appearance of cellulite because they think cellulite is really just a visual sign of fascial inconsistency. I like to think of fascia as sort of like the white part of the orange. It helps hold the orange together, and it also helps separate different segments of orange. That's like a sort of basic visual for you. One last breath. And then gently release. Okay, roller or not, you can certainly experience this next one. So you're gonna step your right foot over the roller, or if you don't have a roller, don't worry about it, and come into lunge. Make sure the roller's out of your way, but if you really wanna get a little more out of this stretch and you feel confident, you could bring the roller above the knee, lift the knee, and you can either tuck the back toe or keep the back toes long. Make sure it's not on that joint. It should help you get into your hips a little more. And then move that roller out of the way. We're gonna come into a hamstring stretch. So we're gonna send the sitting bones back, pivot on the right heel, bringing the toes up to the ceiling, elongating the right leg, hugging it back into its socket. And then we'll press down through the toes. Oh, so nice. One more breath here, and then gently release. So we'll come to the other side. So step over if you have a roller or a mat, or if not, that's fine too. You can simply come into your lunge, or you can bring that roller sort of like propping you up, but definitely above the kneecap. And just be careful here. You don't want to overstrain. So move into it slowly, knowing that you're healthy in the hips, the low back, the SI joint. One last breath. Slowly get it out of your way. Again, reach the sitting bones evenly back as you straighten that left leg, actively pulling the toes up, and then actively pressing them down. One last breath here. Bend the knee and release. Gorgeous. We're just going to finish with a few nice stretches facing that seat of that chair, if you wish, if you have time. So first, let's come to one side just for a side bend. So we'll press down into the seat of the chair, lift the opposite arm up and side bend over. Stay here for a breath, and then keeping the belly lifted, turn your arm toward that chair, keeping your hips sort of forward. Stretch across the back of the shoulder line. One more breath. Lift up and release. Quick pivot around. Give you my best angle. Hand on the chair. Big side bend up and over. Keep your front and back body balanced. Keep your thighs sort of reaching forward as you turn your gaze and stretch the fingers. Oh, love this. Push down into the chair. And gently release. That's it. Come all the way down to your belly. Split those heels apart and roll them in toward one another. You can use the legs of the chair or just nice wide arms to lift up. First, keeping the ribs on the mat, finding your breaststroke prep, and then maybe fully extending the spine, shoulders away from ears. One last big breath here. And then lower carefully to the mat. Inner thighs come together as we reach one arm back and grab the foot for the quadricep stretch. Relax your head and neck. Hug your inner thighs toward one another. Push your foot into the hand and relax the front of the right hip toward the mat. Gently release and switch. Again, you might have to do wacky things to get the foot, but then realign. Little effort into the foot, into the hand. Shoulder back and down. Gentle encouragement of hip toward the mat. One last breath. And release. Hands come under the shoulders. Press your way up to your knees. Hands on chair. Tuck those toes. Lift up and back for your downward facing dog. Little modification here. You can keep the knees bent or fully extend. Then we'll unravel the spine. We'll step the right foot forward, keeping the left heel on the mat, and just bend into that front knee as you keep that back heel down and really stretch your heart forward, your tail back, and then like you're trying to pull the mat apart with the feet to stretch the back calf muscles. One more breath and then switch sides. So make sure that back heel lands. You might want to start from plank with your right heel down or your other heel down, and then move the other foot forward. Little bend into that front knee, reach the heart forward, the tail back, and then again, try to take that mat apart with the feet. One last breath. And gently release. Quick seat for spinal rotation before we finish standing. So I'm at the front of my chair, my feet are below my knees and out from my hips. Inhale, I'm gonna breathe my arms up and then I'll twist right. My left hand's gonna come across to my right thigh. And I'll use the chair for a little bit of work here. You want to make your shoulder happy. You don't want your shoulder way up here. So if it helps you to turn the palm forward. Inhale, lift the sides of the body. Exhale, twist. And then slowly release. Inhale, breathe up. Twisting left. Using the thigh, using the chair if it helps you. Inhale, find some length. Exhale, a little more twist. And gently release. Beautiful job. Shift your weight forward. Come up to stand. Bring your heels together and toes apart. Sweep the arms overhead, dropping into the shoulders, bringing the ribs together and down. Inhale, lift for your final bounce. Lower on an exhale in 3, 2, 1. Inhale, high release. Woo! Bravo, everybody. That was wonderful.